in Australia, people are working and living longer. The large baby boomer population is retired or approaching retirement, and once again, redefining how we approach this period of our lives. I'm Rachel Palmer. Thank you for joining me today. I'm embarking on my late career at a time when the rulebook is being rewritten. And today I'm sharing some new perspectives about late career, approaching that transition to retirement, and retirement. First, I'd like to share a little about myself, and then I'll talk about the Ageing Workforce project that I'm leading. I think I'm unusual for my generation. I grew up with a dad who worked flexibly from home and a mum who went back to full-time work in the office once my sister and I started school. They've recently retired and are navigating that brand new area of their life of how to interact with their family, do volunteer work, and their leisure time, all in an affordable and sustainable way that fulfills their values and goals for their lives. And I feel very lucky to have had parents that have role modelled healthy and flexible ways of working. Right now, I'm working part-time. I have 2 young kids and plan to keep doing that while they're still in daycare. And over the past 20 years, I've had a range of different jobs, mostly full-time. I've worked as an organisational psychologist at NAB, at Victoria Police, and more recently at KPMG. And I feel very privileged to have the opportunity to lead this exciting project, the Ageing Workforce Ready project, which I'll tell you a little bit more about as we go along. I hope that when my kids are older, I can immerse myself again in full-time work, but that I'll also be able to break that up with perhaps periods of study, go back and do that PhD that I've spoken so much about, but maybe other extended career breaks to fulfill other priorities and passions and dreams of mine. And then eventually ramp down to retirement. And who knows, perhaps dabble in consulting, just to keep the income coming in. With a longer life and longer health, it's a time to think more creatively about retirement and that transition, which is so different. I mean, not long ago, and perhaps this describes you, people left school or uni, they got a job, they stayed in that job full time until they retired, and then they had a few years to enjoy the leisure time that they'd earned. Not anymore. Younger people these days can reasonably expect to live to be 100. And there's no way that most of them, the vast majority, can afford and can earn enough and save enough to afford a 30-plus year retirement. And so we really need to think very differently about sustainable lives and sustainable careers and what that means for retirement and our later years. So I'm going to kick off with a short video by Grattan and Scott, which describes the 100-year life and this idea and this scenario that they've described really well in their book, The 100-Year Life.
We're all going to live a lot longer, some of us up to 100 years and beyond. For the last 2 centuries, life expectancy has risen by around 3 years every decade. That adds up to a lot more time. As a result, the 3 stages of education, work and retirement will no longer exist. What will come in its place? London Business School professors Linda Grattan and Andrew Scott have been thinking through the impact of longevity on the world. Everything will change, for people, businesses and governments. The key to a successful 100-year life will lie in how we use all the extra time we'll have. One thing we'll have to do is work longer. Retiring at 65 won't be an option unless we have many, many more savings. And the education we received in our teens is unlikely to see us through our career, especially as new technologies and jobs emerge. What's more, no one will be able to maintain the same pace in work. Because a good and productive life needs more than just money, it depends on intangible assets too, like family, friendship, and love, good health, new knowledge and skills, and extraordinary experiences. We're likely to try different careers, take breaks, move to new cities, and reinvent ourselves several times over. We will be living a multi-stage life where activity and age become disconnected. How can you get ready for this radical change? Linda and Andrew have a few ideas. Audit your tangible and intangible assets today and start planning for your future. Use your free time to invest in fitness, skills and relationships. Think about the experiences you want to have and plan for them. Experiment. There are no role models to follow, just your passions. Be flexible and open to change. Explore your options. Longevity isn't just about getting older. It's really about being younger for longer. How are you going to put your extra time to good use?
So right now, what a 100-year life means in reality is that our assumptions and expectations and norms about retirement are changing. There is no one way to retire. Some people are working part-time or even full-time after they thought that they would be retired. I know that for many people, COVID-19 has forced people to retire early when they don't want to, or perhaps to keep working because their savings aren't going to take them as far as they need them to. Others are enjoying these good years and finding hobbies and volunteer work and leisure activities that they find meaningful and fulfilling and that will sustain them. The reality is, though, that the population is ageing, and for a whole host of reasons, our late career and our retirement years need to be reimagined.
We've all heard that the world's population is getting older. But did you know that for the first time since Federation, Australia has more people aged 45 or older than those under the age of 30? Despite this, age discrimination is still common and continues to have a negative impact on the life of older adults. In 2014, a survey conducted by the Australian Human Rights Commission indicated that 27% of respondents had experienced age discrimination in the workplace in the last 2 years. And in the following 2 years, 58% of age discrimination complaints received by the Commission were related to work. Research shows that experiences of ageism can often have a negative impact on the mental health and well-being of older adults. When older adults are unable to find work because of ageism, they cost the economy and taxpayers money through their reliance on initiatives such as Newstart. Many harmful stereotypes exist about older workers, including that they are unable to use technology, are unproductive, or will cost the business money. But how true really are these beliefs? Most of these stereotypes about older workers are not actually true. In reality, there are a lot of benefits to hiring and retaining older workers. Research shows that the most effective teams are those that embrace diversity, including diverse age groups. This is because different age groups bring with them a range of knowledge, experiences and insights which teams of a similar age group lack. Despite this, of companies with a diversity and inclusion strategy, only 8% include age. An ageing workforce is the future. Companies who do not adapt will be left behind. Companies need to deepen awareness about how their business is being impacted, choose what to focus on to best support older workers, and then act.
I've mentioned the Ageing Workforce Ready project a couple of times now, and it's a great project to be leading, especially with everything that's going on at the moment. It's an innovative collaboration between Australian Super and Transitioning Well, and is being funded by WorkSafe Victoria's Work Well Mental Health Improvement Fund. The aim of the project is to create actions and resources that protect and promote people's mental health as they transition through their late career and into retirement, in particular for the transport industry. But we're hoping that what we do develop can be used across all industries and all organisations. So the intent is really to create awareness and resources that support people to plan through their late career and into retirement. So this next video is going to give you a little longer introduction into this project.
Australia's population is getting older, and this ageing population is predicted to create significant challenges and opportunities for organisations. So significant are these changes that the CSIRO has named the ageing workforce as one of 6 megatrends in occupational health and safety over the next 20 years. Despite this fact, many Australian companies have been slow to engage with the realities of an ageing workforce. This has led to the creation of the Ageing Workforce Ready project, an innovative collaboration between Australia's largest super fund, Australian Super, and work-life transition experts Transitioning Well. The project is being funded by WorkSafe's WorkWell Mental Health Improvement Fund, with the aim to promote and protect the mental health and well-being of older workers. 8 public transport companies are participating in the pilot, and the developed resources and approach will be applicable across businesses of any industry and size. The project commenced in 2019 with a review of the literature and 2 successful roundtables. The Consumer Roundtable gave us insights into how the ageing workforce impacts the public transport industry. For example, a common theme highlighted during the roundtable was the appeal of public transport jobs as a way to manage the transition to retirement for many older workers. However, while drivers recognise the limitations of flexibility inherent in their roles, there are some aspects of the job that become harder as people age. In addition, the reliance on casual work arrangements rather than permanent part-time positions creates concern for some employees. Insights like these have continued to inform and guide the direction of the project. An informative expert roundtable was also held in which academics and other specialists shared their research and best practice ideas. Dr. Sanji Pereira from the Centre of Workplace Excellence commented that this collaboration unearths insights about communication and connections and develops a greater appreciation of the importance of communication between the employers, employees and managers, and the importance of some kind of connection, both digital and otherwise. Using this information, Transitioning Well's existing ageing workforce pillars were further developed to frame how organisations can create a workplace where older workers can thrive. These insights were shared in the Ageing Workforce Ready white paper called The Age Difference, which was received by over 100 professionals and organisations who have registered interest in the project. The 4 pillars are recruitment, retention, retirement and roadmap, and are used by organisations to guide actions that make work a better place. Importantly, the best practice pillars address a range of work-related factors at all levels of an organisation, from manager support to organisational change, from job demands to the control that employees have over how and when they do their work. WorkSafe Victoria is leading the way in supporting organisations to focus on work-related stress as a way to decrease employee stress for 2 crucial reasons. Firstly, addressing work-related factors helps treat the root cause of an issue rather than just addressing the symptoms, and secondly, they help establish preventative and proactive techniques for safeguarding the well-being of older workers. The Ageing Workforce Ready team is using data from in-depth interviews and focus groups, as well as a desktop review from a pilot group of public transport companies to uncover meaningful insights that inform the project. One finding highlighted that many instances of good practice rely on individual capability rather than being formally supported through policy and process. This raises important questions about the sustainability of these practices when those employees leave the organisation. Based on insights like these, the team will offer recommendations to the pilot companies that are informed by data, the ageing workforce pillars, and work-related factors. Participating companies have the opportunity to implement a range of activities that support the well-being of older workers, from manager training to online resources. The aim is not only to create positive change in the pilot group of organisations, but to develop a collection of resources and information that can equip all organisations in becoming ageing workforce ready.
One of the areas of this project that I'm particularly passionate about is that we are trying to do our little bit to challenge and raise awareness about the untrue and harmful stereotypes that people still believe about older people. I'm sure if you pause for a moment, you'll think of one, if not more, of the kind of stereotypes that I'm talking about. These stereotypes are harmful and they perpetuate an undercurrent of ageism that is so real in our society, and I think COVID has only brought it further to the fore. These kind of stereotypes cause people to miss out on work, to be the first in line for redundancies, and worst of all, people often end up believing these stereotypes, and then that can undermine their own sense of self-worth and their own mental health. What the data tells us is, for the most part, these stereotypes are absolutely wrong. And in fact, older workers bring an enormous amount of benefit to organisations, to society, and to our lives in general. So the project has put together a few images to try and debunk these myths, and I'll share those with you now, followed by a video that highlights the impact of these stereotypes on people's mental health.
Approximately 45% of Australians aged 16 to 85 will experience a mental illness in their life. We know that experiencing discrimination has been linked with increased chances of having poor mental health. Age discrimination, or ageism, is the most socially acceptable prejudice on the planet and is the biggest challenge to older workers' mental health. Ageism includes generalisations about age groups, and is reflected in false and negative views, such as older people being a burden, contributing little to society, and being disengaged from life. Despite it being illegal, ageism is unfortunately normalised in many workplace cultures, with many people not even realising that they are contributing to it. Meet Russell. He knows about age discrimination all too well. Russell is 60 years old with plenty of experience in his area. When Russell was looking for work, he experienced age discrimination during the recruitment process. Application after application, Russell was unable to secure an interview or a position, not because he wasn't skilled or qualified for the job, but because of his age. Age discrimination in hiring processes is commonplace, with 1 in 10 businesses reporting they have an age they will not recruit above. Russell was over the moon when he finally landed a job, until he started to experience age discrimination in his day-to-day work. Younger employees would tell ageist jokes in the lunchroom, and managers overlooked him for training because they thought he was too old to learn new skills and would probably retire soon. When he tried to share ideas from his years of experience, no one seemed interested in listening. Russell's mental health and self-esteem took a hit as a result of experiencing age discrimination, and he no longer found work enjoyable. No type of discrimination should be acceptable in the workforce, including ageism. Workplaces must act to support the mental health of their older workers, and they can do this by putting an end to age discrimination.
Tackling ageism is incredibly important. The Ageing Workforce Ready project is trying to do its little bit by influencing organisations to be more age diverse and accepting of people of all ages. As individuals, there is absolutely things that we can do ourselves as well. And I think one of the most important things is to reject those ageist stereotypes. This doesn't mean trying to stay young. In fact, I think trying to stay young is in itself a kind of ageism. While stories about older people climbing mountains and jumping out of aeroplanes can be inspiring, part of me questions why they're doing it. And if they're doing it because that's what they've always wanted to and that's who they are, then fantastic. But if they're doing it to try and stay young, then I think that can be counterproductive. As we age, it's a time to be open-minded about who we are and what we want to achieve with our lives. As demonstrated in the 100 Life video, what's deemed normal is changing, and that brings with it so many options and opportunities and challenges that we've never had before as we get older. So we don't need to fit in to those commonly held stereotypes. We can take a moment and take some time to work out what it is we really want to do. So I do want to close with just some reflections on so what. I've talked about a few different ideas and themes through this session, but what does this all mean for you? And look, as always, the answer is really it depends. But I think I can leave you with a few pointers and a few tips about how to do something with the themes that I've raised. I think the first important thing is to embrace your age. And statistically, the youngest people and also the people over 70 are the happiest. So why fight that? Why succumb to stereotypes and the way that society is perceiving age, and it is an ageist society, when really these can be the best years of our lives. So embrace your age. 2, take stock. And what this means is taking a bit of time to work out what's really important to you. What are your values? What's good or what needs improving about your physical health? Who are your supports? Who are your friends? Where's your family? What other community supports help you to thrive, or do you want to tap into? What about your financial situation? What goals do you have for your life and for the rest of your career or your retirement? So really take some time to take stock. And then 3, work out what's your next step. I mean, I'm not talking wholesale change. We're just talking one step at a time to live the late career, to transition to retirement, and to retire in a way that makes us healthier and happier. So the next step could be all sorts of things. It might be getting involved in a new hobby or an interest. It might be deciding that you are going to phase your retirement, you are going to go part-time now, that you are going to start fitting other things into your life rather than keep working flat out. Or perhaps it might be unretiring. Maybe there are people who have already retired and it's not all it's cracked up to be. It's a story I've heard many, many times. And that incorporating some paid work or some volunteer work is what people absolutely need to feel happy and fulfilled. So we can all tackle ageism little by little by how we live, the decisions we make, and at the same time create for ourselves a more fulfilling retirement. So if you'd like to find out more about the Ageing Workforce Ready project, then please come and visit us at the website www.awrproject.com.au. Thank you for your time today.